Dear learners of Standard 8, it's a very good morning and welcome back to my BG's Geography class. Hopefully, you all are safe and sound at your home by the mercy of Almighty Allah. Previous day, I had told you about the two types of social problems in Bangladesh, that is juvenile offense and drug addiction. Previous day, I had discussed about the juvenile offense, Kishor Aparadh. Today, I am going to discuss about the drug addiction, Madukasakta. So, you are observing here different types of drugs. Sometimes these drugs we can get relief by using this drug, and sometimes these drugs turns in the young generations in intoxication level. So, first we will know that is what is drug. Follow. A drug is any substance that causes a change in an organism's physiology or psychology when consumed. So, two types of impact. When we suffer different types of diseases, we consult with a doctor and we take different types of medicines for our quick recovery. But when these drugs are repeatedly used and we can create different types of harm in our body, that is psychologically or the physiologically, that will be turns to drug addiction. So, what is addiction? Addiction is a biopsychosocial disorder characterized by repeated use of drugs or repetitive engagement in a behavior such as gambling despite harm to self and others. So, addicted persons not only making the harm to them, but also they also creates the social anarchy or harm in the society. So, follow drug addiction. The young generation especially taking the drugs nowadays, and that means lost their life for getting just excitement. Drug addiction is also called substance use disorder, is a disease that affects a person's brain and behavior and leads to an inability to control the use of a legal or illegal drug or medication. These substances such as alcohol, hemp, fentanyl, heroin, yaba and nicotine also are considered as drugs. When you are addicted, you may continue using the drug despite the harm it causes. So, dear learners, drug addiction begins by mixing with the drug addicted friends, and the juvenile takes drug being instigated by friends only to get the momentary excitement, and the young generations are always curious. This curiosity at one time leads them to smoking. They later on develop the habit of smoking and taking other intoxicating items such as this fentanyl, heroin, yaba, hemp, nicotine. Many starts to suffer from frustration. Okay, different types of frustration. So to get rid of this frustration and at the instigation of friends or following the friends, many starts to take these drug items. Later on, this turns into their intoxication. So, what is yaba? It's the common matter. If you follow the news, you can see these types of medicines, yaba, in the news, and most of the time you can watch this. So, the two main substances that make up the drug are caffeine and methamphetamine, otherwise known as crystal meth. Yaba is a drug in tablet form, and it is most often red in color with the letters WY imprinted on it. Those users who make it most commonly smoke the drug of tin foil, and through it can be instigated orally or pressed or noted. Then what is heroin? So heroin is highly addictive drug, is derived from the morphine alkaloid found in opium poppy plant. This is the opium poppy plant, this is the pod of the poppy plant, and is roughly 2 to 3 times more potent than morphine. And it is usually injected, smoked or knotted up the nose. This is the pod of the poppy plant, and from here the heroin is collected. A natural substance taken from the seed pod of the various opium poppy plants grown in Southeast and Southwest Asia, Mexico and Colombia. Heroin can be a white or brown powder or sometimes black sticky substance known as black tar heroin. Other common names for heroin include big H, horse, hell dust and smack. So what are the causes that make the juvenile drug addicted? Peer pressure. I told you first, the juveniles take drug being instigated by friends only to get the momentary excitement. So it's no secret that peer pressure is one of the most powerful force in the world. This is especially true for young people. Everyone wanted to feel liked and to be accepted into certain peer groups. Thus, they are often willing to participate in activities that are not healthy. So we must have to be very much cautious and serious about our friends and companions. Then family history. It is very important. The juveniles may suffer from frustration by being deprived of parental affection and attention, or frustration may also come from a family disturbance and quarrels. So at one stage they become drug addicts. Follow. The child is not getting the attention of his parents. So another leading cause of addiction is family history and genetics. Many people grow up in homes where they are exposed to drugs and addiction, and others have it in their DNA because their mother and father abused drugs and passed the addiction down to their children genetically. Growing up in a household where drugs are present in often too much for a child to deal with, and this exposure is often the key to a young person falling into a life of addiction themselves. Next, loneliness. I told you many starts to suffer from frustration due to unemployment, death of dear ones, family disturbance, etc. They feel lonely. So loneliness is a condition that is common to the human experience. Everyone feels lonely at different times in life for a variety of reasons. It can be painful, thus the desire to numb the pain. So we must have to be very much serious to give the proper attention to our child or children in their adolescent period. Escape from emotional pain. At one stage, men emotionally, that is, breakdown for different purposes. So the surroundings members must have to give them proper attention and support to get rid from this type of frustration or emotional pain. There are many forms of emotional pain. We mentioned loneliness earlier, but that's only the tip of the iceberg. Many people struggle with sadness, depression, anger, heartbreak, anxiety, fear, among other things. At one stage they become drug addicts. Then recreational experimentation. Ultimately, many people fall into addiction because they simply wanted to have fun. Recreational drugs use remains responsible for much of the addiction in this country. That is, sometimes the young to take the drugs to create the recreation, or they take this to have the fun with the friends. But simultaneously, when they take these drugs frequently, so it turns to the addiction. Then stress. No one is immune to stress. We experience it in many forms, both in our personal and professional lives. Stress can be debilitating. Thus, many people turn to drugs and alcohol as a way to deal with the everyday mental and physical stress of life. And also the cause can be the influence of bad culture. What will be the impact of juvenile drug addiction? Psychological and physical. Psychological, different types of problems can exist. So drug addiction has now become a frightening problem in our social life. Its effect in our socio-religious life is also very serious. Drug addicted person may suffer from heart disease, TB, cancer, asthma, etc. So mental health also becomes weak for this, as well as the physical health. So they not only do their harm, but they cause chaos in the society, being the victim of timidity, anxiety and excitement. So dear learners, follow psychological problems. They face anxiety, restlessness, irritability, insomnia, headaches, poor concentration or poor attention, depression, social isolation. And physical, the sweating, heart palpitation will increase, then muscles tension, then tightness in the chest, difficulty breathing, then tremors, nausea, vomiting or diarrhea. Different types of. So as this lots of impacts for taking the drug addiction. So why do we take the drug, isn't it? So we have to be very much cautious and careful about ourselves. So effect of drug addiction, what? Peace and happiness of the whole family is disturbed. So family does not have any respect from the neighbors. Okay, family will not get for the drug addicted child and not get respect from the neighbors for the drug addicted child. Then in his family, the family often becomes ruined for arranging money to buy the drugs of the drug addicted children. Incidents like stealing, murder, suicide, fleeing from home, fleeing from school, etc. happen. Then social insecurity or the decay of moral values also happen due to effects of drug. So drug addiction must be resisted and controlled with a view to saving the persons of the society from the bad sides of drug. Preventive measures against drug use and abuse. So personally, family, what is the responsibility, peer and friends, the school and community. So what you need, personally, you have to be controlled. Self-control can be created in your mind. Positive self-image and strong self-esteem you have to create. Then family, what family can do, parental monitoring and support and strong family bonding can create. Peers and friends, academic competence and proper selection of friends and acquaintances. Okay, proper selection of friends is very emergency for your life. School and community, effective laws and policies, strong community and attachment. So everything is needed. So we can get rid from this type of drug addiction. So drug addicted person personally, he or she have to be self-controlled. Then family has some responsibility. Peers and friends also give them the proper support or suggestions, and school and community has also the responsibility. So the preventive steps of juvenile offense and drug addiction, both are here given. That is, preventive steps are most fruitful in the resistance of drug addiction. For this, emphasis should be given on moral education. Moral education is very, very emergency, and the parents and the elderly person of the family should play an active role to teach children religious and moral values from their early age. The harmful sides of drug and all religious restriction to this effect must be informed to everybody. That is, drug, the negative impact of drug. Then anti-drugs awareness and social movement must be built. So together we have to work about the drug. Arrangements must be made for healthy recreation, that is at local level. Education, religious institutions, socio-cultural and sports organizations like club, society can play significant role to resist drug addiction apart from teaching moral education. Then to stop the production of sin films, that is one thing we are observing nowadays, the young generations become tilted towards the foreign culture. So influence of the bad culture is another main cause of drug addiction. At present, the culture of one country is being easily influenced by the culture of another country through cinema, TV channel, internet, etc. So a group of juveniles are being misguided and lost due to the clash of two different cultures. Emphasis should be given on consciousness and the responsibility of the guardians. So guardians must have to monitor their children and their associates. emphasis on socio-economic program. So we must have to give focus on the that is different types of socio-cultural program. So they will get the moral support from there. They will engage themselves in different types of positive or constructive programs. Creating education opportunity for all. That is, arrangements must be made for healthy recreation, and infant or juveniles must be attracted to this so that they don't get inclined to the drug addiction. And side by side, that is what we can say, create the education opportunities for them. That is, they will engage in their education for a certain time in a school. So our young generation must follow one promise, that is, say no to drug by arranging different types of programs. So law of drug addiction control. At present, drug addiction is a dangerously complex problem of Bangladesh. So to get prevent from drug addiction, the government of Bangladesh has signed 3 conventions of the United Nations on drug addictions, and the government of Bangladesh also has signed the Anti-Drug SARC Convention in 1990, and the government of Bangladesh has enacted the law on the use of tobacco products last in 2013. That is what the law includes punishment for the use of tobacco products in public places and public transports, and smoking is created as a penal offence in the office places like office, library, lift, enclosed workplace, hospital, airport, river port, seaport, railway station. That is common public place. It is totally forbidden smoking. So no one can smoke in public place and in public toilets. If anyone violates this law, he or she will be penalized. Penalized with money up to 300 taka. And if that person commits the offence for the second time or repeats the same offence, this penalty will seriously to be doubled. So that will be the 600 taka. So dear learners, tobacco products, drug and other addictive products should stop production and advertising. Public and private initiatives should have to be promoted through advertising on drug abuse. And alternative employment should be provided for workers involved in drug production. And we should control the market of used drug products in medicine also. So save our young generation, we must have to be very much conscious and give a focus and attention of our young generation and stop to make the drug or collect the drug from the outside of our country. Thank you all. Stay safe and healthy.